Let's be honest, you never planned for this. I was supposed to be a phase, a distraction, a beautiful little chapter in your life. Nothing more, but then one day you realized you weren't thinking about me. Sometimes you were thinking about me all the time. At first it felt harmless, a few memories here and there, a random thought when your phone lit up, a familiar feeling floating through the air. You told yourself it would pass, the time would do what time always does, but instead the memories became stronger, the silence became louder, and my absence became impossible to ignore. You searched for me in different faces, different places, different hearts, but nothing ever felt the same. Now you're addicted to me, like a song you can't stop replaying. Addicted to me, like a dream your mind keeps creating. You tell yourself you're over it, then my name crosses your mind, and suddenly you're right back where you started. Addicted to me without even knowing why. Maybe it was my energy, maybe it was my confidence, maybe it was the way I walked away without asking anyone to follow. Maybe it was the mystery, maybe it was the timing, or maybe some connections, leave fingerprints on your soul that never truly disappear, no matter how far away they go. You thought distance would help, you thought moving on would heal it, but some people become a feeling, and feelings don't have addresses. And now you're addicted to me, like a song you can't stop replaying. Addicted to me, like a dream your mind keeps creating. You tell yourself you're over it, then my name crosses your mind, and suddenly you're right back where you started. Addicted to me without even knowing why. I never asked for this power, I never tried to stay inside your head, but the things that touch us deeply have a strange way of refusing to leave. And now every version of your future has a little piece of my shadow in it, whether you admit it or not. You're addicted to me, to the mystery, to the memories, to the possibility. You're addicted to me, not because I stayed forever, but because I left before you stopped wanting more. You're addicted to me, like a story without an ending, like a question without an answer, like a fire that keeps glowing long after the flame is gone. Some people break your heart, some people heal your heart, and then there are the rare ones, the ones who quietly become part of you. Those are the hardest to forget. Can I tell you a secret? The most powerful women aren't the loudest ones. They're the women people can't figure out, The women who leave questions unanswered. The women who become someone's favorite thought without ever trying to. Because mystery has always been more seductive than certainty. You only know the version of me that I allowed you to see. A smile here, a story there, a glimpse of something beautiful. Before I disappeared again, you tried to read me like an open book, but every page you turned only led to another mystery. And somehow that made you stay longer. The less I explained, the more you wanted to know. And every step I took away only made you follow. I'm your private fantasy, the thought you never speak out loud. Your private fantasy, the one that always stands out in the crowd. You imagine what could be, you wonder what you'll never see. I'm your private fantasy, living somewhere between reality and dream. When the city goes quiet and the lights begin to fade, that's when I find you somewhere inside your thoughts, uninvited, unplanned, unforgettable. You create stories about me, filling the missing pieces, inventing things we never had, conversations we never finished. Because imagination can be more dangerous than reality. You don't miss what we were, you miss what we could have been. And sometimes that's even harder to forget. I'm your private fantasy, the thought you never speak out loud. Your private fantasy, the one that always stands out in the crowd. You imagine what could be, you wonder what you'll never see. I'm your private fantasy, living somewhere between reality and dream. Maybe in another life we would have had our chance. Maybe in another world you would have asked me to stay. Maybe in another story we would have gotten the ending you still imagine today. But this isn't another life, and that's exactly why you can't let it go. I'm your private fantasy, the chapter you never finish reading. Your private fantasy, the feeling you never stopped feeling. A beautiful question without an answer, a spark that never became a fire, yet somehow burns forever. I'm your private fantasy, and that's what makes me unforgettable. Some people become part of your life, others become part of your imagination, and sometimes the second one lasts much longer. Don't love me now, not when it's easy, not when I'm standing right in front of you, not when you can call me and hear my voice. Love me later, when all you have left is the memory of me. Let's see if your heart survives that. You looked at me like I would always be there, like sunsets happen every day, like beautiful things never leave. got comfortable with my presence, comfortable with my laughter, comfortable with the way I made ordinary moments feel special. And that's the thing about people, they don't realize the value of something until it becomes a memory. You thought I was part of your life, like I was guaranteed, but nothing precious stays forever, and neither did I. So love me later, when the silence gets louder than my voice. Love me later, when every replacement feels like the wrong choice. Love me later, when you finally understand what it meant to be seen, to be understood, to be wanted without conditions. Love me later, because later is when the truth arrives. One day you'll hear a song and it will sound like me. You'll walk past someone wearing my perfume, and your chest will tighten unexpectedly. You'll see a picture, a place, a color, a dress, and suddenly the version of me you've been trying to forget will come rushing back. Not because I was perfect, but because I was real, and real things leave marks. The hardest people to lose are never the ones who demanded attention. They're the ones who quietly became part of your soul. So love me later, when the silence gets louder than my voice. Love me later, when every replacement feels like the wrong choice. Love me later, when you finally understand what it meant to be seen, to be understood, to be wanted without conditions. Love me later, because later is when the truth arrives. Maybe you'll fall in love again, maybe you'll build a beautiful life, maybe you'll smile more than you ever did before. And I genuinely hope you do, but there will always be a moment, a small one, a random one, when my memory walks back into the room and sits beside you like you never left. Love me later, when the years have softened your pride. Love me later, when distance can no longer help you hide. When you finally admit that some people aren't meant to stay forever, they're meant to change you forever. Love me later, when the story is already over, and somehow you still can't close the book. Everyone wants to be loved in the moment, but the rarest kind of love is being remembered long after you've gone. And if you still think about me, then that's when you'll love me later. Don't love me later. You weren't supposed to like me this much. That's the funny part. I was supposed to be a passing moment, a late night conversation, a memory that faded with time. But somehow I became the one you compare everyone else to. And that's a dangerous place to be. At first it was simple, just another face in the crowd, another name in your story, another voice among thousands. But then you started noticing the details, the way I laughed when I was The way I disappear when things became predictable. The way I never beg for attention, yet somehow always had it. And little by little, without realizing it, you made room for me in places I never asked to be. Now every conversation feels different, every connection feels incomplete, because once you've experienced something rare, ordinary becomes hard to keep. I'm your dangerous favorite, the habit you never planned to start. Your dangerous favorite, the girl still living inside your heart. You try to move on, you try to replace, but every road somehow still leads back to my face. I'm your dangerous favorite, and that's a game nobody wins. You tell yourself it's over, that enough time has passed, that memories lose their power, that feelings don't last. But then a song starts playing, or a perfume fills the air, and suddenly you're right back to the moments we shared. Because some people leave quietly and disappear forever, but some people become a standard that follows you wherever you go. Without warning, without permission, without control. You don't miss me every day, but when you do, you miss me all at once. I'm your dangerous favorite, the habit you never planned to start. Oh, your dangerous favorite, the girl still living inside your heart. You try to move on, you try to replace, but every road somehow still leads back to my face. I'm your dangerous favorite, and that's a game nobody wins. Maybe it was the mystery, maybe it was the timing, maybe it was the way I never stayed long enough to become ordinary. Maybe that's why some stories never truly end, because they keep rewriting themselves inside your head. I'm your dangerous favorite, not the loudest, not the easiest, not the safest choice, but the one you remember when the room gets quiet, the one you think about when the night gets long, the one that lingers long after the feeling should be gone. I'm your dangerous favorite, the beautiful mistake you secretly don't regret. Years from now, you may forget what I wore, you may forget what I said, but you'll never forget how I made you feel. And that's exactly why I'll always be your dangerous favorite. Dangerous favorite. It's not something I try to do. I don't walk into a room looking for attention. I don't need everyone to notice me, but somehow they always do. Maybe it's confidence, maybe it's energy, maybe it's what happens when a woman finally knows exactly who she is. I used to hide parts of myself to make other people comfortable. I used to shrink my dreams, dim my light, question my voice, just to fit into places that were never meant for me. But the moment I stopped apologizing for who I am, everything changed. The way I walked, the way I spoke, the way the world looked at me. Now I don't enter quietly, I enter honestly, and somehow that's louder than anything. All eyes on me, and I didn't even ask for it. All eyes on me, like gravity pulling them closer. I don't need permission, I don't need a reason to take up space. All eyes on me, because confidence is impossible to ignore. It's in the way I carry myself, like I belong wherever I stand. It's in the way I smile, like I already know something beautiful is coming. It's in the way I leave without needing to be followed, because real presence doesn't disappear when the person does. It lingers in conversations, in memories and hearts. I stopped trying to be noticed and started focusing on becoming unforgettable. That's when people started paying attention. All eyes on me, and I didn't even ask for it. All eyes on me, all eyes on me, like gravity pulling them closer. I don't need permission, I don't need a reason to take up space. All eyes on me, because confidence is impossible to ignore. Some people walk into a room and hope someone sees them. I walk into a room knowing I see myself, and that's the difference, because self-belief creates a kind of glow that no spotlight could ever compete. All eyes on me, not because I'm perfect, not because I'm trying, but because I've become comfortable being exactly who I am. All eyes on me, not for a moment, not for a trend, but for the energy I leave behind long after I'm gone. All eyes on me, and for the first time I don't feel nervous, I feel powerful. The most attractive thing about a woman isn't her beauty, it's the moment she stops asking the world for permission to shine. Too good to chase. The day I stopped chasing, the day I stopped chasing people. Stop chasing validation. Stop chasing love that wasn't sure about me. Because the truth is, the right things don't need to be hunted down. They recognize your value the moment they see it. There was a time when I thought I had to prove I was worth staying for. I thought if I gave more, loved harder, waited longer, maybe someone would finally choose me. But every lesson led me here, to a woman who understands that being wanted and being valued are two completely different things. So I let go of forcing what wasn't meant to be, and suddenly everything started finding me. I'm too good to chase, too rare to beg, too strong to lose myself for someone else's attention. Too good to chase. If you want me, you'll meet me halfway, because I know my worth and I refuse to negotiate. Now I move differently, with peace instead of pressure, with confidence instead of questions. I no longer wonder if I'm enough, because I became everything I was searching for in other people. And that's a kind of freedom nobody can take away. I don't compete, I don't compare, I don't need to be louder to be unforgettable. What's meant for me will never require me to abandon myself to keep it. I'm too good to chase, too rare to beg, too strong to lose myself for someone else's attention. Too that were barely open and started building my own. I stopped waiting for invitations and became the event. I stopped asking for a seat at the table and created a table nobody could ignore. That's when everything changed. I'm too good to chase, too focused to settle, too grounded to confuse loneliness with love. Too good to chase the right people, the right opportunities, the right life will recognize me without me having to convince them. I'm too good to chase, and that's exactly why everything beautiful keeps finding its way to me. The moment you stop chasing, you realize something incredible. You were never behind. You were simply walking toward the life that was already meant for you. Tell me, tell me, have you ever met someone, and no matter how hard you tried, you couldn't stop thinking about them? Not because they chased you, not because they begged for your attention, but because their presence felt like a beautiful mystery. That's where the story begins. I never walked into your life looking for a spotlight. I wasn't trying to become your favorite thought at night. I was just being myself, living my own story. But somehow you kept finding pieces of me in every conversation, in every song, in every place we used to know. And suddenly you realized I wasn't easy to forget. You keep asking what it is, what makes me different from the rest. But some things can't be explained, only felt. Now you're under my spell, you know it too well. Every little memory pulls you back again. Under my spell, like a story you tell, even when you swear it's finally the end. You try to move on, but my shadow remains, a beautiful disaster dancing through your brain. Now you're under my spell, and nothing feels the same. Maybe it's the confidence, maybe it's the calm, maybe it's the way I never needed validation to know where I belong. Maybe it's the way I leave room for imagination, the way I disappear before becoming expectation. I never gave you everything, I left a little mystery, and sometimes mystery becomes the strongest kind of chemistry. You thought time would erase me, but time only made me glow. And now the version you remember shines brighter than the one you used to know. Now you're under my spell, you know it too well. Every little memory pulls you back again. Under my spell, like a story you tell, even when you swear it's finally the end. You try to move on, but my shadow remains, a beautiful disaster dancing through your brain. Now you're under my spell, and nothing feels the same. I never promised forever, I never promised to stay, but sometimes the shortest chapters leave the deepest marks anyway. And maybe that's the secret of people you can't replace. They leave before life has the chance to make them ordinary. Now you're under my spell, like moonlight over the ocean, like a dream that keeps returning with every hit and disappear. And some become a ghost that follows you long after you've said goodbye. You know what's funny? People always think it's about beauty. They think it's the dress, the smile, the way I walk into a room. But hearts were never won by looks alone. They're won by mystery, by confidence, by knowing when to stay and when to leave. I learned a long time ago that people remember how you make them feel, more than the words you say, more than the promises you make. So I stopped trying to be unforgettable, and somehow that's exactly what I became. Now every city feels familiar, every room feels like a story, every stranger becomes a chapter, and every goodbye leaves a memory. I don't mean to leave a mark, it just happens every time, like a melody that stays long after the music dies. I'm a heart collector, leaving pieces of myself behind. A heart collector, living rent-free inside your mind. You try to forget me, but memories don't disappear. I'm a heart collector, and somehow I'm still here. Maybe it's the way I listen, like every word matters. Maybe it's the way I laugh, like nothing in the world can shatter me. Maybe it's the softness, maybe it's the fire, maybe it's the fact that I never needed anyone's desire to know exactly who I am. I carry my own light, and people are drawn to it like stars belong to the night. I never asked to be remembered, I never asked you to stay, but something about my presence always follows you away. I'm a heart collector, leaving pieces of myself behind. A heart collector, living rent-free inside your mind. You try to forget me, but memories don't disappear. I'm a heart collector, and somehow I'm still here. Years from now, you'll hear a song, walk past a perfume, see a sunset painted gold, and for a second, without warning, you'll think of me. Not because I was yours, but because I was impossible to replace. I'm a heart collector, not because I take, but because I inspire. A heart collector, turning ordinary moments into fire. No chains, no games, no desperate attempts to hold on. Just a woman who knew her worth before you knew she was gone. Some people enter your life and ask for attention, others enter your life and become a memory. I became both thoughts. I used to wonder if I was enough, If my dreams were too heavy, if my heart was too tough. I spent years trying to fit into places too small, making myself quieter, afraid to stand tall. But something changed when I stopped asking why. Stopped waiting for permission, stopped begging the sky. I found a different woman staring back in the mirror, a little more fearless, a little more clearer. I learned my worth isn't measured by attention, not by validation, not by someone's affection. And now when I walk in, I don't need to announce. My energy speaks before I even make a sound. No, I don't need the room needs a little bit of me. And I don't need your eyes, they just find me naturally. I make you stare, 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 like you've never seen a girl this rare. I make you stare, 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 can't look away, you're caught somewhere. I'm not trying, I'm just being me. Confidence looks so good on me. I make you stare, 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 and suddenly you're everywhere. Champagne dreams and a dangerous smile. I've been building this life for a while. Every scar became part of the art. Every goodbye made me stronger at heart. I know what I bring when I enter a room. A little bit of fire, a little perfume, a little mystery nobody can read. The kind that turns curiosity into need. You keep looking over, trying to understand how I make being effortless look perfectly planned. But the secret isn't beauty, the secret isn't style. It's believing in yourself every single mile. No, I don't chase a thing. What's meant for me arrives on time, and I don't force a spark, I just shine. I make you stare, 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 like you've never seen a girl this rare. I make you stare, 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 can't look away, you're caught somewhere. I'm not trying, I'm just being me. Confidence looks so good on me. I make you stare, 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 and suddenly you're everywhere. Maybe it's the way I laugh, maybe it's the way I leave, maybe it's because I know exactly what I deserve to receive. Maybe it's the way I glow when nobody's holding my hand. Maybe it's because I built myself and became my own biggest fan. I make you stare, 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 like you've never seen a girl this rare. I make you stare, 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 a little dangerous beyond compare. I don't need a crown to reign, I don't need a title or a name. I make you stare, 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 and you'll remember me again. I stopped asking if I belonged the moment I realized I was the whole room all alone. Let's stop pretending. You knew it from the beginning. Not because I was better than you, not because I was perfect, but because we were playing two different games. You wanted attention, I wanted purpose. You wanted convenience, I wanted growth. And that's why I was always out of your league. I remember when you met me, back when my dreams were still becoming, back when I was building in silence while everyone else was talking. You saw the potential, but you never understood the vision. You thought I was a chapter, not realizing I was writing an entire empire. And while you were focused on who I was focused on who I was becoming. The difference wasn't talent, the difference wasn't luck. The difference was I never stopped believing in myself when things got hard. I was out of your league, not because I had more, but it's too late. Now you see the confidence, the glow, the success, the peace, and you think it happened overnight, but you didn't see the mornings when nobody believed, the nights I cried, the risks I took, the fears I faced alone. You only see the finished masterpiece, not the thousands of brushstrokes that created it. People think becoming is glamorous, but becoming requires letting go of every version of yourself that no longer fits. I was out of your league, not because I had more, but because I expected more. Out of your league, because I refused to settle for a life that felt too small. You watch me rise while standing in the same place, and now you're wondering how I got so far away. I was always out of your league. You just noticed too late. And maybe that's what hurts the most. Not losing me, but realizing you had access to a woman who was becoming extraordinary, and you treated her like she was ordinary. I was out of your league the moment I chose growth over comfort. Out of your league the moment I chose purpose over approval. Out of your league the moment I stopped waiting for someone else to save me and started saving myself. You see me now, and it all makes sense. The confidence, the standards, the distance, the success. I didn't become out of your league. I always was. Some people lose opportunities. Some people lose relationships, and some people lose the chance to grow alongside someone incredible. That's the loss they'll remember forever. Never underestimate a woman who is quietly building the life she once prayed for. Out of your league. Have you ever wanted something? Not because everyone else wanted it, but because deep down, you knew it was meant for you. That's how I see my life. Not as a competition, not as a race, but as a collection of blessings with my name already written on them. Reserved for me. I used to compare my journey to people who seemed ahead, watching their victories while questioning my own path, wondering why doors open for them before they open for me, wondering if I was falling behind, if I had somehow missed my moment. But life has a beautiful way of teaching patience, and patience taught me something priceless. What belongs to me cannot belong to anyone else. So now with trust instead of fear, because what's meant for me is already making its way here. Reserved for me every blessing, every opportunity. Reserved for me every dream that refuses to leave my heart. Reserved for me, I don't need to force it, I don't need to fight for what is already mine, because the life I'm meant to live was always reserved for me. Now when someone else succeeds, I celebrate, because their path isn't my path, their timing isn't my timing, and their purpose isn't my purpose. I stopped looking sideways and started looking forward. Stopped chasing what wasn't mine and started building what was, piece by piece, prayer by prayer, lesson by lesson, until I became the woman my younger self dreamed about. I don't panic when things take time, because diamonds take time, empires take time, becoming takes time. Reserved for me every blessing, every opportunity. Reserved for me every dream that refuses to leave my heart reserved for me. I don't need to force it, I don't need to fight for what is already mine, because the life I'm meant to live was always reserved for me. There are doors with my name on them, people I'm meant to meet, places I'm meant to see, and a future already waiting for me. Not because I'm lucky, not because I'm perfect, but because I'm willing to keep showing up for the life I'm creating. Reserved for me. The abundance, the love, the success. Reserved for me. The opportunities I haven't even imagined yet. Reserved for me. The version of myself I'm still becoming. Reserved for me. Because some things don't need to be chased, they simply need to be received. The moment I stopped worrying about what was meant for other people, I finally had room to receive what was meant for me. If it's truly yours, it won't miss you. If it's truly yours, it won't miss you. The strongest women I've ever met were never the loudest. They didn't need to raise their voices. They didn't need to prove their power, because real power doesn't demand attention. It commands it quietly, effortlessly. And that's where I learned the art of soft domination. I don't need to control the room to own it. I don't need to speak first to be heard. I don't need to compete to stand out, because confidence isn't a performance, it's a presence. The kind that changes the atmosphere without touching a thing. The kind that makes people wonder how someone can be so gentle and so powerful at the same time. You mistake kindness for weakness until you realize my softness was never surrender. It was restraint. This is soft domination, silk wrapped around ambition. Soft domination, soft domination, grace mixed with precision. I don't push, I don't chase, I don't force my way inside, yet somehow I've become impossible to ignore. That's soft domination. I learned that power isn't always fire. Sometimes it's water, patient, calm, certain, finding its way through every obstacle without ever losing itself. I don't argue for my value, I don't convince people to stay, I don't beg for understanding, because what belongs in my life will recognize me without a fight. The older I get, the less interested I become in proving myself, and the more interested I become in protecting my peace. This is soft domination, silk wrapped around ambition. Soft domination, soft domination, grace mixed with precision. Yet somehow I've become impossible to ignore. That's soft domination. A queen doesn't announce her arrival. A diamond doesn't explain its value. The ocean doesn't ask permission to be powerful, and neither do I, because the strongest energy is the energy that remains calm while everyone else is trying to be seen. This is soft domination, the art of knowing your worth without needing applause. Soft domination, the ability to walk away without looking back, to choose yourself without guilt, to stay elegant without becoming small. This is soft domination, beautiful, dangerous, and completely in control. Anyone can be loud, anyone can demand attention, but very few people can walk into a room with quiet confidence and leave owning every memory inside it. Power isn't always a storm. Sometimes it's a woman who knows exactly who she is. Come closer. Actually, stay right there. That's where you've always been. Watching, wondering, trying to figure me out, trying to understand how someone can feel so close and still be completely out of reach. You see the photos, the smile, the life I'm building, and you think you know me, but you're only seeing the highlights, the polished moments, the parts of the story I chose to show. The truth is, the real version of me lives somewhere beyond your assumptions, beyond your imagination, beyond the distance between us. And that's exactly why you keep looking, because some things become more beautiful the moment you realize you can't have them. So watch from afar, like the moon watches the ocean. Watch from afar, like a dream that's always in motion. You can admire, you can wonder, you can wish upon a star, but some things aren't meant to be held, they're meant to be watched from afar. Maybe you thought one day I'd come back. Maybe you thought time would somehow bring us together, but life has a funny way of turning people into memories, and memories into legends inside someone else's mind. Now every success you see, every new chapter, every new beginning feels like proof that the woman you once knew never stopped becoming more. And the farther I go, the brighter I seem. That's the strange thing about distance, it turns reality into a dream. So watch from afar, like the moon watches the ocean. Watch from afar, like a dream that's always in motion. You can admire, you can wonder, you can wish upon a star, but some things are meant to be held, they're meant to be watched from afar. Maybe in another universe you would have reached for me sooner. Maybe in another timeline we would have written a different ending. But this isn't that story, and I've stopped living in possibilities. I live in purpose now. So watch from afar as I become everything I once prayed for. Watch from afar as I open every closed door. Watch from afar as I rise, as I glow, as I grow into who I'm meant to be. You can remember me, you can miss me, you can imagine what could have been, but you'll never truly know the woman I've become. Some people are meant to walk beside you. Some people are meant to walk away. And some people are meant to spend the rest of their lives wondering what would have happened if they had gotten a little closer. Not every star is meant to be touched. Some are meant to be admired from the distance. You can't afford me. This was never about money. Not really. Because the most expensive women aren't wearing the most diamonds. They're carrying standards. They're carrying self-respect. They're carrying a version of themselves that took years to become. And not everyone can afford that. I pay for this life in ways you'll never see, with lonely nights, hard lessons, and becoming everything I needed to be. I learned how to walk away when staying would have been easier. I learned how to choose myself when everyone expected less. I built confidence from broken pieces, built grace from painful seasons, built an empire inside myself before anyone noticed. Now when I enter a room, I don't wonder if I'm enough, I already know. And that's what changes everything. You can't afford me, not because of what I own, but because of who I've become. You can't afford me, the peace I protect, the standards I keep, the love I refuse to give away cheaply. You can't afford me, because I learned my value when I stopped offering discounts. People see the glow, but they don't see the growth. They see the confidence, but not the years of doubt. They see the crown, but not the battles. They see the woman, but not the journey. Every scar became wisdom, every failure became fuel, every goodbye became proof that I could survive without permission. I stopped asking to be chosen and became the prize. The moment I did, everything changed. You can't afford me, not because I'm impossible, but because I'm intentional. You can't afford me if your love is temporary, if your effort is inconsistent, if your words don't match your actions. You can't afford me, because my standards are no longer negotiable. I don't need luxury to feel valuable. I don't need validation to feel beautiful. I don't need attention to feel powerful, because everything I was searching for I found inside myself. And once a woman finds that, she becomes priceless. You can't afford me, not with compliments, not with promises, not with potential. You can't afford me unless you bring honesty, consistency, respect, and intention. You can't afford me, because I know exactly what I bring to the table. And I'm no longer afraid to eat alone. The most expensive thing about me isn't my style, isn't my beauty, isn't my ambition. It's my self-respect. And once a woman has that, very few people can afford to lose her. Let's be honest, you never planned for this. I was supposed to be a phase, a distraction, a beautiful little chapter in your life. Nothing more, but then one day you realized you weren't thinking about me. Sometimes you were thinking about me all the time. At first it felt harmless, a few memories here and there, a random thought when your phone lit up, a familiar feeling floating through the air. You told yourself it would pass, the time would do what time always does, but instead the memories became stronger, the silence became louder, and my absence became impossible to ignore. You searched for me in different faces, different places, different hearts, but nothing ever felt the same. Now you're addicted to me, like a song you can't stop replaying. Addicted to me, like a dream your mind keeps creating. You tell yourself you're over it, then my name crosses your mind, and suddenly you're right back where you started. Addicted to me without even knowing why. Maybe it was my energy, maybe it was my confidence, maybe it was the way I walked away without asking anyone to follow. Maybe it was the mystery, maybe it was the timing, or maybe some connections, leave fingerprints on your soul that never truly disappear, no matter how far away they go. You thought distance would help, you thought moving on would heal it, but some people become a feeling, and feelings don't have addresses. And now you're addicted to me, like a song you can't stop replaying. Addicted to me, like a dream your mind keeps creating. You tell yourself you're over it, then my name crosses your mind, and suddenly you're right back where you started. Addicted to me without even knowing why. I never asked for this power, I never try to stay inside your head, but the things that touch us deeply have a strange way of refusing to leave. And now every version of your future has a little piece of my shadow in it, whether you admit it or not. You're addicted to me, to the mystery, to the memories, to the possibility. You're addicted to me, not because I stayed forever, but because I left before you stopped wanting more. You're addicted to me, like a story without an ending, like a question without an answer, like a fire that keeps glowing long after the flame is gone. Some people break your heart, some people heal your heart, and then there are the rare ones, the ones who quietly become part of you. Those are the hardest to forget.